I'm so defaulted. I'm still so defaulted. What do you mean we have chapter, story, children? Oh, right. So I was running through my recording of part 1. I'm only into like the chapter like 6 through 10 section. So I haven't gone through all of it again. But I had a thought. Because I'm still not quite sure. We haven't really been introduced to characters from the Hellscreen novel or short story at all. It's mainly just been Ryoshu herself being called Yoshihide. That is the only direct character that we have. However, I did start thinking of the blending of characters and sort of like the more gray area that it seems to be in with how they've set up some of this. In the book, Yoshihide had assistants that were, and I mentioned this in the last part, and that's the part that triggered this memory of he had assistants that were, in order to do and manifest the Hellscreen, those assistants were tortured, burned. I wasn't able to read this ahead of time. Was there, maybe there's a direct one I can pull. Yoshihide's daughter and the monkey. There's another section. Maybe this is actually a better section. I imagine what little you have heard is enough for you to grasp the fanatic intensity of which Yoshihide approached his work, but let me give you one less terrible example concerning a young princess no more than 13 or 14 who could have lost his life for the Hellscreen. It happened one night when a boy whose skin was as fair as a girl's was called in the Sir Studios. There you found Yoshihide by a tripod, like balancing a piece of meat on his palm, feeding it to a bird the size of which he's never seen. The bird was the size of a cat, in fact, too. Okay, actually, I thought it was going to be shorter. Trying to figure out an excerpt that might be best to read, but there's just various descriptions of different tortures that the apprentices went through. Snakes, there's also mention of I believe the pointer is specifically called out to have been burned. The mask on his face now compared to the flashbacks. And one of the final acts of the Hellscreen is a burning. So rather than the apprentices, or even what happens at the end is Yoshihide's daughter being burned in a carriage. Rather than it being the apprentices assisting to create the work of the Hellscreen, it seems the potential, if Yoshihide is more directly, or if Ryoshu is more directly Yoshihide, it is instead shifted into being the nurse fathers raising Ryoshu up, and they have potentially, while they inflicted pain on Ryoshu seemingly, hence her rage toward them, but there's also potentially a connection tying that she is also learned and done acts against them, because there's the Valencia's eye starts to bleed, and she says it's from being near Ryoshu. We know the burns for the pointer, so I'm not quite certain about the middle. The tongue was cut out of the pinky, so there's definitely a variety of things that were both done to Ryoshu by them, but her also doing it back to them at some point. So it seems to me that the nurse fathers are almost reversing it and being more nurse fathers of raising Ryoshu up rather than being apprentices trying to assist Yoshihide in his work from the book. general thought I had. Mainly Valencia's eye bleeding made me think of that, just because, just like, okay, she potentially suffered something, and then clicking that also with the pointer being burned, seemingly also related to Ryoshu, just set off some alarm bells. That's a color for Ryoshu's child, right? Seemingly. That's not it. That's not how you shorten it. No. You're doing it wrong, Mommy. Just follow after me. You get it now. Oh, don't forget. Such a shame that a blade tempered to such ruthless sharpness was used to cut away her own mind. Your baby's still at that house, ain't that right? So the lines I learned to draw were connections, not boundaries. Now I watch from outside the clue of moments that have slipped past you. When the end brushes past the beginning, I will take you in my arms and bear you home. Shoo? Yo, Shoo. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Ryoshu closed her eyes shut, then opened them again. Some time ago at the laboratory. Why did the nurse fathers create things like you? The same people who used to complain all day and night about what a pain it was to look after me are keeping underlings now? Children. We are their children. Huh. So what role are you children playing? Yoshihide, the day you return to the House of Spiders, we, the 5 children, shall bind together the thread you shall slash to pieces, and complete the clue. The nurse fathers of the house were beside themselves with concern, Yoshihide. Were you to return home having forgotten even the time you spent at their side? It would feel as though all the years poured into nurturing and honing you had gone to waste, they said. Didn't know they called their errand boys their children. What they call us is immaterial to the relationship we share with them. No, it's got a different echo. The bond between children and the parent is thicker, firmer, so much that even after I have mutilated my own mind with a sword, a thread of something still remains still. Yet my master tells me that she has tended to you enough through all the time she has passed. Tended to me? Yoshihide. How does it feel to be a living fetter? Fetter? I am barred from enjoying the fresh air of this world outside, no longer free to travel the mountains and cliffs as my feet would carry me, as the other members of the Pinky are. I wish to no avail that I should be allowed to weave the delineations of wings and back streets. I don't understand what you mean. You don't? I'm saying I did not endure my grueling life only to be trapped here as your nurse father. Well, what do you make of it, Yoshihide? Stifle your crying. What makes you think you have the right to shed tears? If anyone has a reason to cry, it is me. Ever since you were pushed into my care, not a day has passed without me wanting to cry. I know it's blurry, and I can't quite tell, but is that a cigarette? Just throwing it out there. Or as something, because it looks like there's a line there. My niece. Mother, I scraped my niece. Keep her bawling out of my sight. Snotty, sniveling little brat, disgusting. You wouldn't have gotten hurt if you weren't such a slow dullard. Next time, keep your eyes open and dodge before it hits. Maybe if you had a leg ripped away from you, then you'd also taste a drop of this crippling agony of imprisonment. That woman was the one who hated me the most. She blamed me for her fate. But in the end, Yoshihide, it is thanks to her that your mastery of the blade has been cultivated to such a degree enough to parry both this humble blade of mine and that brute sword. The man blocked the ring's apprentice's blow as though it were a performance meant for Ryoshu. Ryoshu? I know there's some bad blood involved here, but this is our chance. Let's pull out while they're busy fighting each other. We need to go after the one who swiped the golden ball, yeah? Her whereabouts are unknown, however, this is indeed our chance to hie away from here. We made our escape through another route while the ring and the Pinky apprentices were busy fighting each other. The technique he used, was that hers? The Pinky nurse father? Yeah. It was one of my gouged out memories, but clashing blades with him reawakened it. The nurse fathers wanted me to learn every single one of their techniques. That Pinky woman too, she sure hated me alright, but that didn't stop her from teaching me what she knew. Probably to make me more prolific, more efficient killer. And that's why losing me was such a harrowing failure for them. All the work they poured into me slipped right through their fingers when I left the spider web. Well, love-hate can play out in all sorts of ways, I guess. Your memories, did you hew them away yourself? Yeah, with my own hands. I was reminded of the expression I saw in Ryoshu's face in one of her memory fragments, when she sliced off the Pinky nurse father's tongue. When she drove the blade she never unsheathed before us into that woman's mouth. What I saw in Ryoshu was the expression of suffering. Every time I draw this blade and cut something, I'm also slicing away a piece of my mind. That's the reason I didn't want to use this blade. But had I not done so, they'd have taken her away from me for good. The one last thing Ryoshu didn't want to let go. The word that came out of Lei Hong's mouth the moment he saw her. Your baby. It was for her that Ryoshu sliced off both her own memories and the Pinky nurse father's tongue. My blood, my ward, my daughter. Lei Hong said she's still there in the House of Spiders. Yeah, in a place only I know, in a safe that nobody else can find. What was your daughter to you? Don't see why I should play coy at this point. The one and only precious thing. She's all I have. Even without her memories, Ryoshu spoke without any doubt. I caught myself thinking how nice it must be to have such a certainty. Oh, the daughter still might be dead. The fact that she's in a safe and not like a safe place. It makes me so uncertain if the daughter's alive or not. It could be just ashes. I see. As long as we stick to this path, we'll all eventually find the things we lost. Right. I know that. Come on, let's go after them. With the elevator still busted, we can't have escape to a different floor just yet. The golden ball is faint, but I can still sense its presence. Okay, just regular Pectula. Same crowd.
위에서 당신을 관리자로 정한 데에는 합당한 이유가 있겠지. 기대하고 있겠습니다. 단테.
내 뒤로.
I have 82. take is, I think it takes 16 to level 25. Trying to do math if I need to also start upgrading other people. Granted, with how many sinking ideas, I feel like I'm gonna need to train my sinking team by the end of this. Not necessarily for this, and maybe Rupture can power through for most of it. And some other thought, and I remember seeing it on Blue Sky, was everyone talking, and anyone who read the book would have assumed it would have been a burn season. But I guess it makes sense more actually directly for it to be sinking. Sinking is related to like depression. Yoshihide eventually, after the death of his daughter in the book from the burning, kills himself. But I think there's a level of depression within that I think I do see how sinking even makes almost more sense for this. It's the depressing weight of things. Let's see. Last season was Rupture. Like breaking. Which also makes sense. Things breaking, the family breaking. The control breaking. Bleed for the blood fiends, obviously. We've seen more themed for the Limbus stuff, because really, depending on what theme they went on the Limbus side of things, like doing the blood fiends, had they made it more like charge related or something else, but blood fiends makes more sense for what they did. So having a bleed group there. Heaps was also sinking, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because Earl King's sinking. I think the only one kind of not sinking from that set was Ryoshu's Nelly ID, which was poise, or more heavily poise at least. What was Ishii's Canto? I know Ishii's idea is sinking, but I think the Queequeg idea is kind of bleed. No wait, no, Ahab is also bleed. Hell, that one was probably just more of a Pierce. That whole thing was more Pierce heavy. Sometimes it's focusing on specific elements, sometimes it seems to be more focusing on a damage type of Pierce slash or blunt. I think it was a mix of bleed but also more Pierce. We continue toward the corridor full of corpses and debris. Here's hoping we come across someone else still conscious, like Miss Elisa. Ow, you just stepped on my hand, mister. Oops, my bad. Wait, was that a survivor speaking just now? Everyone turned around, hearing the alarm in Gregor's voice. A lone survivor, the one who seemed conscious among the bodies crushed under the debris, was looking up at us with her face scrunched up in pain. Are you alright? Do you have a Dimension Shredder ego gear? I'm not. It hurts so much. I've been waiting here for so long, but nobody showed up. I was chatting with this person next to me just to stay conscious, but then he suddenly stopped speaking. It's been 10 minutes already. We even exchanged names. Not gonna lie, she's kind of cute. I like this. I like this ego gear fit. You must be referring to this man. He's pretending to be dead, but his pulse hasn't stopped. What? He's pretending to be dead to not talk to her. How rude! The man in his suit stopped playing dead and slowly opened his eyes. You got me. Chit-chatting about the food we'll eat once we get out while slowly being crushed by the debris on top of us. I mean, you know what happens to characters who say once we survive this. I want vanilla ice cream with almond sprinkles once we survive this, and a sandwich too, with lots and lots of cheese. What about you, Ravi? We need a hand. Yes, please. Let's just get them out. With the center's help, the two employees who have been trapped in the rubble managed to break themselves free. Just my left hand. I'm good besides that. Oh, gee, I think I broke my right arm, but give it a few days with lots of almonds and fish, and I should be good as new. Oh, thank you for getting us out of there. I'm Sora. We gotta live another day thanks to you. You can call me Ravi. Your design is too plain. I'm like less confident you're gonna live because your design feels too plain to me. But you're named. But there's question marks. By the way, what department are you from? Have you seen us before? We were here for a checkup last time. Oh, we're new hires. This is our first day of work. What a hell of a first day. Whew. Oh, LCE clerical team. New hires? Yes. There were new job postings for LCE and refining department. Today is day one for us new hires. We were on our way to see the researcher who was supposed to handling our onboarding when then this happened. This gear, it's my first time wearing it. The more I look at it, the more it intrigues me. The fact that they put gear on you your first day is kind of mind-boggling. I had to I don't know, like attune to it, like D&D or something. How did you get trapped under the debris? Pray tell, how did you get trapped under the debris? Right, they can't hear Dante. I forget that. Virgil almost seems like he understands Dante now, by the way. Yeah, well, I was just walking through the corridor and stopped for a bit. I'm always a total klutz. Once I have something on my mind, I can't multitask at all. I can relate. Researchers often sink into fathoms of their mind when the spark of information sinks. I had this idea for an ego gear experiment, and I couldn't move on without first getting it sorted out in my head. Ego gear, you say? Might you be referring to that shackle around your wrist? Ah, that's right. It's not the wieldiest, but it's my one and only ego. Cut the fluff and get to what happened next. Sorry, it happened. Out of nowhere, we heard a loud noise coming from the other end of the corridor and people started running. That's when the ceilings collapsed. If only I hadn't zoned out, I wouldn't have gotten caught under the rubble. I wouldn't go as far to say call you lucky, but getting trapped under rubble might have been exactly what saved you from the intruders who were attacking the facility. They've already killed a lot of people. Huh? What? While we were trapped? My condolences. I regret I have no further words to give. Were you able to find any other survivors? An approximation of 20 remains. As fortune should have it, the team leader and the rest managed to regroup. That's a relief. And are you certain you are well? It's quite remarkable that a newcomer to a corporation remains so composed in the face of such crises. We get trained for situations like this, so I wasn't entirely unprepared, just never thought something like this would happen on day one. Still, that's pretty impressive for a new guy. In any case, where were you headed? Oh, right. We're looking for the elevator. I think it's somewhere in this direction, but I'm not sure. Oh, the elevator? I know where it is. I could come with you. Can I come with you? Lead the way. These components... Oh, I hear voices from the other end of the radio. Is it your team? The call's breaking up. It seems we've gone past the transmission radius. I wonder how the others are faring. I hope I can get an update about my colleagues as well. I'm with you on that. Two LCE researchers sigh anxiously as we hurry in the elevator's direction. I don't quite get why these two are here. And I don't necessarily want them to die, but Robbie already called it out of saying like things you want to eat when you get free. Feels like waving death flags.
일기당천.
내 뒤로.
늦으면 내피랑 먼저 갈 거야.
I like you less, so.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
내 뒤로. 탑공창.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도 지금은 감회가 새로워요.
기꺼이.
바람 불어오는데
쨍그랑 우리가 조각났어. 계속해도 돼.
Feel like by the end of this we're gonna be entering the House of Spiders, and that might be where the dungeon is, if we get another dungeon. This Canto. I at least was a personally big fan of them doing one in Chapter 2. I think it's good to have them. I think they're more fleshed out. I think you can sprinkle more things in. And I like gussed over it last time, because I think the weakest part of each chapter was not having one. So, having one I think is better. And usually I think it is a better closeout. But I'm certainly open with them doing it as even like a part 1 or part 2 if it leads better for the story to have it be set up that way. But usually you can't do it as part 1 just because you're going into an area. And usually dungeons themselves are already extremely long. So oh.
내 뒤로.
적들이 흔들흔들. 기회 아니야?
He's gonna win right it.
일기당천. 하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
회풍.
I'm like half panicked because my computer acted up earlier, so I'm hoping things don't go awry. But it's been good now, and I've let it sit for an hour without it acting up, so maybe it's fine.
바람 불어오는데
At least for the moment. I should have just moved it earlier today.
뛰어나다는 걸
The pace of like talk, fight,
너와 나의 목
has been fairly nice, and now we're at talk again. How the others?
부품은 이걸로
The components should cover what we need for the repair.
소리가
The transmissions are getting harder to make out. Not surprising considering how far the distance between the teams have grown.
그리고
And the survivors? I see Area 1 in the sector, regrettably.
그 역시도
Again, hardly a surprise. The state of the bodies is there for all to see. Faust believes there is no feasible way to aid them under the present conditions. So it doth appear.
상심은 그대가
Barely can see who must be saddened by this tragedy. I beg thy pardon for raising this matter.
이제
There, now we just have to get back to the facility management room.
이 복도만 지나치면
Right, it should be right past this corridor.
교수는 산만하게 돌아다니며
Assistant
위아래로
pacing
머리를
about
굽는
distractingly and scratching one's head out of cluelessness. Our behavior is prohibited in our research facility. Oh, also, frowning and cocking your head like that and blurting a huh at the screen are all likewise forbidden. No, I've got a bad feeling about this. Something's off. Oi, stop. Don't go out yet. There's something outside. Oh. Perhaps I can let the blood vessels relax and expand. Yes, that's much better.
진짜네요.
Oh, you're right. We've run straight into him, had we left the room. Based on the circumstances we have faced thus far, it is reasonable to conclude that this individual's affiliation lies with the ring. A nurse father. Has to be a dead straw, unlike that last who nicked off with Charon.
자네들
You people, where's all that confidence you had when you beat the daylights out of me during the monolith experiment? Boy, why not putting it like that? You'll give people the wrong idea. Besides, we were beating the daylights out of your distortion. Well, not exactly beating the bloody hell. Hell, you get what I mean, yeah? The extent of the physical trauma sustained by the corpses on display indicate that the odds of prevailing in combat against him are minimal. Faust does not advise initiating a battle that cannot be won when we are completely cut off from Dante. His uses of identities are not among our options. Engaging the enemy now will only serve to deplete our numbers. And with so little information on the enemy, sustaining a lethal injury we have no means to treat will make the manager Esquire behold the cold, lifeless form of young Sinclair upon their return? They still keep calling out that Sinclair would be the first to die. And the cold, lifeless form of Don Quixote too?
팀장님, 저자가 이쪽 복도를 계속 상주하면
Plus, if he keeps lingering out in the corridor,
곤란하고
that's quite a problem. We'll probably run into him on our way to the facility management room. Oi, how long do you reckon you're going to take for you to fix your knacker device or whatever it is?
공격은 사보타주에 가까우니
Given that the attack resembles a facility sabotage, I need to inspect each component separately instead of treating this like a regular malfunction.
파손된
I cannot be sure of anything before I see the extent of the damage. Yet even in the best case scenario, I don't expect the repairs to be done in short order. Damn it. Marton, didn't I tell you plenty of times that non-standard energy redistributors are a nightmare for maintenance?
연구소의 이 구역
Oh,
설계는 팀장님
you're the one who designed the sector of the research facility, Lodi boss. That must have been during the week leading up to my report deadline. I'm confident I made the most of the limited time I had back then. Any chance we can buy ourselves a bit of time and lure him away? I'm considering 5 or 6 possible options, though if I were to recommend one, we have her take off those shoes. What, after all that mess you went through? Without your access to the identities, the only viable combat option is my ego gear, and it is chances of defeating or killing that man, who is most likely a maestro of the ring, is hardly promising. If need be, I shall step... I'll do it. Don Quixote. Yeah, I ain't having it. We've been in worse trouble than this, haven't we? And sure, I've thought about yanking off those stinking shoes a fair few times, but we can't do that to her, can we? I've said this time and time again. Rocinante's self-cleaning fungies is always active, but let us put such matters aside. I would rather you relying on my blood fiend powers, yet we are left with no recourse. And I have faith in you, faith in my companion, and it shall bring me back again. Val seconds Heathcliff's opinion. The plan to have Don Quixote remove her shoes is rejected. While there are several reasons to discourage that idea, the chief among them is that Don Quixote must not dismount from Rocinante. Do you believe her unbound powers will be insufficient to overcome this obstacle? According to the test results, she demonstrated combat abilities that were... No, having Don Quixote remove her shoes to resolve this predicament is not an unrealistic scenario. However, that flow would be a choice that distances Dante from the journey to retrieve the golden ball. And even if we are to entertain Hohenheim's suggestion, the removal of Don Quixote's shoes must take place as a result of the manager's decision. Hold on, please. This is all happening too fast. You really gotta start elaborating on stuff. An illustrative example. In the event Don Quixote fails to control her impulses and proceeds to create kindreds and blood bags with abandon, there is a possibility that she will be unable to return to her current self no matter how many times Dante's clock is rewound. If a sinner cannot be restored by the manager's power, it is effectively tantamount to failing to retrieve the golden balls in this world. Such an outcome would prove a decisive failure on my part in proving that. I understand, rejected it is. Let us move on to the next agenda. Art thou sure of this? We possessing no fitting means to striking that villain down. It was simply a proposed plan A to tackle the situation. Frankly, I wasn't too eager myself to risk gambling on the odds in an environment with so many variables beyond our control. But every plan you've got in mind, do it quick. I don't see that pointy shoe wanker right now, but as for plan B, I buy some time while you people help Martin with repairing the device. Okay, I thought I heard, like, crackling, but maybe that was from his ego gear? If I raise the attunement level of the Ox Centipede ego gear, I should be able to move for a while even after my heart has ceased to function. Not exactly in top shape after all these fights, but with the luck on our side, I might even be able to knock him unconscious with the high enough voltage. Ha, says the bloke who probably hasn't even been in a proper brawl ever. You fought adversaries wearing ego gears before, haven't you? These gears can make up for a lack of combat experience. This ain't an argument. We stall them, you work on repairs. Even if we pop our cogs, clock it'll come back here sooner or later. They can bring us back. Even if we end up becoming one of those horrific exhibits, right? Correct. The degree of pain accompanying that process, however, will far exceed the usual range for both the individual concerned and Dante. It is preferable we avoid such a development. Clearly, you're all underestimating the amount of firepower I can unleash were I to be fully equipped. Still, perhaps it's for the best that you remain uninformed. You're coming along too? Not saying aim back to fix that thing?
누가 설계했는지 모르겠지만
Whoever designed this did a remarkably subpar job. Having a genius like myself repair such a second-rate piece of equipment would be a waste of talent.
그렇다는군.
So she says, but to clarify, this isn't second-rate. It was the best design attainable given the time constraints. In other words, it was the optimal design we could manage at the moment.
부탁하겠네.
I leave this matter to you then.
처럼 무사하게.
Let us all meet again in a sound form, as we did in our last misadventure.
싱클레어군
Young Sinclair, art thou well?
안될 것 같으면 일단 우리가 먼저
There you
시작할
go,
테니까
hold them off first, so if you need a moment to get your head sorted, no. I can't just keep wandering around aimlessly. Wandering aimlessly. Huh?
역시
Sinclair? Ah, of course. Bloody hell. A gallery that has achieved the magna opera of aesthetics need not bother sending out invitations. Visitors will naturally come pouring in on their own. Oi, you reckon we came all this way just to look at this lot of useless rubbish? Don't know much about this whole art thing, but even I can tell this is the worst bloody exhibit I've ever clapped my eyes on. In that case, it seems I must play the curator myself for a young and foolish guest. Just as I taught Yoshihide from Kish to avant-garde. With each trend of art movement engraved into every chunk of meat. A gallery tour narrated by a maestro himself, you ought to feel honored, really. Please don't tell me I actually have to pretend to fight that.